Hey Todd, how are you? Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I really wanted to pick your brain about the work that you've done on Married to Medicine. Are you able to talk to me and tell me your name and what you do?
Yes, my name's Todd Schroeder, and I'm a editor,
Yeah.
and I edit in my career, almost 20 years. I've done mostly reality television.
Great. For example, what is it like for you on day one of the first episode?
The first episode, reality TV, is a little different than scripted because
Okay.
there's a lot of, footage,
Yeah.
and there's no script. So it's a lot of watching footage and seeing what happened in a scene and trying to figure out what the story is going to be.
Okay. Who do you collaborate the most? Who's in the room with you?
We have a team on a reality show that comprised of the executive producer,
Yeah.
and then the story producers. And so you have a whole team that, for my show, it's in Atlanta, and
Okay.
there's a whole team of people there that shoot the scenes in Atlanta. They give the footage to the executive producer here in Los Angeles, and then they look at the footage and then give it to me. So I'm working closely with the executive producer and the story producer.
Right. So when it comes to collaborating with these other creatives, how do you handle notes or any type of last minute changes?
I mean, the as an editor, I've been working on this show now for 9 years. I have a
Wow.
lot of leeway in what I can do and the music I choose and
Yeah,
how I put the scene together.
sure.
And the way we do it is I'll do a pass on the scene. They watch it, the executive producer, well, the story producer will watch it. She'll give me some notes sometimes, change this, try this, and then the executive producer will watch it and then he'll give his notes, and then usually we go back and forth like a few times, and then I make those changes, and then usually he'll sign off on it, after we've done a few like rounds of notes.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be them to be able to trust your creative influences and also to understand that, you already have an eye or an opinion of how the show needs to be running or created. So, yeah, I think it's really great to be able to have a team like that you're able to collaborate with so easily.
Yeah, for sure, because every show has its own feel.
Sure.
Every show has its own kind of yeah, its own baseline, how the show feels. And so we're all sort of on the same page and kind of have that same, end goal to make it feel like the way the show is supposed to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Are you able to tell us a little bit of how you got started on this project?
Yeah, I mean, I had never edited anything professionally until I was, 32, and I went back to school
Okay.
for a year, 1 year program to learn to be, to do editing, and I started off as an assistant editor. And then from there, worked my way up to I was the editor for MTV News for like 3 years.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and then I did, different things for MTV, True Life, and
I
that led to
remember
other
that.
reality. Yeah, I remember True Life.
Yeah, I do. A bunch of those
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, I did like 4 episodes of that. And then that just led to other reality show type jobs. I did shows for Bravo, like Real Housewives of Dallas, and I did some real estate shows for Bravo as well, New York and LA, uh, those shows. And then that just led to me getting a chance to work on Married to Medicine. I did it 1 year, and now I've been doing it for 9 years straight. This will be season 12.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that.
thank you.
Uh, so for the young people that are interested in editing, what types of programs or what kind of skills do you recommend they start working on?
Well, the first real skill for an editor is you have to be passionate about storytelling. So if
Okay.
you're a passionate storyteller and you like telling stories and finding ways to tell that story better than it was shot, then
Yeah.
editing is something you might really enjoy. I like editing because I love storytelling, but it's also a very technical skill too, because you have to be a great storyteller, but
Sure.
you also have to be good with computers. So I work primarily with a program called Avid, and
Okay.
that's the primary software that we use.
Yeah.
The industry pretty much uses Avid for editing, but when you're starting out, you can learn how to edit on programs like Premiere is a good another one that's used quite a lot in the industry as well.
Great. And as far as for the end product, like what do you rely the most on as far as like choosing your music or as far as like any transitions and stuff like that?
Every show will have its different templates for what you can and can't use.
Yeah.
And then of course the final say is the network,
Oh,
so
okay.
our show, we get it to the best place we feel it's at, and then when the network watches it, they get lots of, rounds of notes. So they're the ones that really help refine it to the way they exactly want it. But having worked
Sure.
with Bravo for so many years, I kind of know what they want. So it really just depends on the show and the feel of the show, of like what you end up choosing, the music or the transitions.
What's one of the prouder fun shows that, I mean, episodes that you did?
Oh gosh, on that show,
Yeah, on
I
that show.
mean, I think that in my career, I would say the most fun I've ever had editing was when I worked on the Queen Latifah show.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, because I was the editor for the Queen Latifah show for a couple of like 2 seasons,
Yeah.
and did all of the, when Queen Latifah would say, "And now let's watch this," and then we call it a throw. She throws to like
Okay.
a video. I did all those videos, and so I did a lot of really cool like pieces for that one. One about a group of kids who were they didn't have a lot of money, and Queen Latifah surprised them to come sing with her at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and so they documented the whole journey for these kids, and that was a
That's,
very, very cool experience when she watched that particular spot, and she had a tear in her eye, and she said,
whoa.
"Todd, you made me cry."
Wow, that's great. And that's
Yeah,
definitely one of those experiences that comes to mind as far as like when it's so rewarding all the work that you've been doing.
yeah.
What would you say is some of the challenges, for example, that you faced on the Queen Latifah show?
Well, I mean, in general, in editing, especially like the show that I'm doing now, I would say the challenges are sometimes you can't take it personally.
Right.
Like
Yes, I agree.
when someone watches something you've done and they have a different opinion about the way it should be, and I've had to learn in my career not to hold what I give them with an open hand,
Okay.
you know. And so
Right.
it's not a closed fist, like, no, it has to be this way,
Yeah.
because a collaborative experience is a lot of different people helping to shape something. So you have to go into it with an open hand and not, a clenched fist.
Yeah, it's true, and especially like you said, it's a lot of people involved in this project, and they're all trying to make the best product as possible, so you can have those
Mhm.
9 years on a show, like you said,
Yeah.
and definitely, I mean, always stand up for what you believe is like the best outcome, but it is true, you definitely have to go in with an open mind.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to be, you can stand your ground if you feel strongly about something.
Right.
But, a lot of times it's a collaborative effort. So sometimes what you want, I don't get, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
So Todd, how did you get your start? Did you have any mentors along the way or anything that really defined your journey?
I mean, I was editing some videos for the church I was going to, and I really, really enjoyed doing that. And I found that to be so rewarding doing, videos for like the church, trips and stuff. And that's kind of what led me to want to explore that as a career further because I enjoyed it so much. And I thought
Right.
I wrote down on a piece of paper one day and I said, if I could do anything and knew I wouldn't fail, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I said, I would be an editor. I'd be a
Wow.
TV editor. And so that's why I went back to, that's why I went back to school to learn how to do that because it was something I was very passionate about.
Yeah, just to match your story, I mean, same thing. I got a job, an entry level job at Warner Brothers, and I was always, I always dreamed about having my artwork up on one of their billboards. And yeah, sure enough,
Mhm.
like got fortunate to be able to collaborate on one of their features. And next thing you know, I'm driving to work in the morning, and there's the big summer poster in front of the studio.
Cool.
It's
Yeah, it's a
just
great feeling.
it's always to just be able to really just have your mind set on a goal and to really understand how you can really achieve that.
Absolutely. And if you don't give up, and when you have a setback, you keep pursuing it and going for it,
Right.
you'll get there eventually.
Do you have any advice for those young people that are looking to get started?
I mean, I would say, explore lots of things because, I
Sure.
didn't find editing until I was in my 30s, early
Yeah.
30s. And I'll be 52 this year. So I
Great.
think when you're young, you know, try a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
if something interests you, go for it, and you never know where that path will lead you because it might lead somewhere else. But I would say, try a lot of different things.
That's great. Thank you, Todd. I really appreciate
Yeah,
that you joined me today and you're able to share your story with me.
of course. Thank you so much.